Like, if you are one of those people who wants to talk to your doctor about going vegan, I would caution you. I would caution you because I feel like a lot of them immediately sort of kind of put you down, put those ideas down. I remember there's been times where my doctor was asking me, you taking anything for this, you taking anything for that? And I've said stuff like, vitamin D or like some kind of natural supplement I was taking. And they're just kind of condescendingly were like, well, that's not really going to do it. You're going to have to, take this, take that. And it was always like a chemical medicine, right? Something that's not natural. They are not trained properly in nutrition. And this is something I've discovered over, many years. So this is not like, I just know it all and I think this. This is something like I used to have faith in doctors. I used to believe that they were the authority. And I used to give my power over my personal health and body over to them again and again and again. I have the doctor's bills to prove it, that I'm not paying, because most of the time they actually made me worse or gave me something which created another problem that I then had to return to get another drug, right? So Western doctors are trained in drugs. Basically, they are glorified drug dealers. Now, I'm not saying that the ones who do surgeries that save lives, okay? All of that is well and necessary, and absolutely it takes a certain kind of person and a certain kind of talent to do that. And I'm grateful that we have doctors for that reason, for these emergency situations. But I'm angry that the very people who are supposed to take, an oath of helping and not hurting people, okay, these people took an oath, the Hippocratic Oath, to uphold certain standards when it came to healing and helping people. And probably 95% of doctors in the West do not live by that oath. And some of them probably don't realize that they're not living by that oath because they've been so indoctrinated in allopathic medicine. And that's all they've ever known, right? Because they just have to go to school and they just have to keep going as fast as they can through it. So, they don't have a lot of time with all that studying and all that brainwashing that's happening. They don't have a lot of time to read other things. They don't have a lot of time to look into Eastern medicine, for example. They don't have a lot of time to study up on herbs, and they don't really even have enough time to allow their minds to explore and to think and to reflect on a lot of issues in life that might lead them to a more holistic way, right? And then, of course, there's always that prestige, that goes with being a doctor. And there's always that drive for money and status, right? So when you add all those things up, it's really scary that we still have so many people who take everything a doctor says without a grain of salt. And also, if you look at a lot of people in the medical industry, nurses and doctors alike, many of them are super out of shape. Many of them are obese. They look unhealthy, like their skin just looks unhealthy. They look much older maybe than they are. More gray hair, for instance. And you have to think about their schedules, okay? Because a doctor's schedule, most doctors' schedules are crazy. Like, I've heard stories where, they sometimes haven't slept for 48 hours. How unhealthy is that? And then they just pump, caffeine. That's basically like crack if you take too much of it. So they're just like pumping things, to keep them alert. And then they're like performing surgeries on people. So I've heard all kinds of stories, and most of them directly from people in the medical industry, actually. That eat a lot of fast food, etc. Now, I'm not saying all of them, so if you're watching this and you're like an honest doctor who tries your best and works out and takes salad for lunch, I'm not talking about you. What I'm talking about is the majority, the overwhelming majority of physicians in this country, in the U.S. and other countries, but I would say the U.S. is probably the very worst when it comes to medical care. And it took me a long while to be able to accept that fact as well, because we're so brainwashed to be so patriotic and to think that the U.S. is the best country in the world and this and that. So consequently, most people tend to overlook these things. They have a blind faith in these things. They have a blind faith in government. They have a blind faith in the military. They have a blind faith in the medical and pharmaceutical industries. And when you have a blind faith, that is really a dangerous place to be. You shouldn't have a blind faith in anything except for yourself. Okay? Having a blind faith, and even with that, you have to be careful because you don't want to be so blindly believing in yourself that you are not open to learning some of your weaknesses, and things you need to work on for growth from other people. So, but, when it comes down to it, your intuition is really, your internal compass is really the only thing in this world that you should have a blind faith in, okay? And I say this as a person who was raised in a Southern Baptist family, and I, at one point, was going to church like 3 times a week, Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings, and Sunday nights, and my wardrobe was reflecting that when I think back to some of the stuff I wore. And I, through my own seeking, through my own searching, through my own openness, my own soul, was able to keep my mind open to other truth that even contradicted the truth I had been taught, and I welcomed some of the contradictions, and those contradictions, looking into them deeper, are what led me to form a more universally, a universal perspective on the soul and religion and ultimately truth, right? Because I do believe there is like an ultimate truth. Because I'm the authority over my own body. My soul is what is inhabiting my body. It's what's giving it life. It's what's giving it animation. And without my soul, this body is just a shell, right? It's just material that is going to decay. And it's the same for all of us. That's what you are to your body. So your body is not who you are. You're the soul that's in your body. You're the energy that's giving your body life and motion and thought and humor and love, okay? So you are the authority, and don't let anybody take that away from you. You know your body better than anyone. You may not know exactly what's going on, but you know certain things. And if you learn to listen into your body, you learn to get quiet with your body, and you really just take an honest listen, and you can even ask your body questions. You can ask your higher self questions. You can do muscle testing to get a yes or a no. You can use a pendulum. I'm going to put some of this on my channel to show you how. But if you are sincere in asking questions to your higher self about your body or your life, you will get answers and you will get signs. I've been led to so many natural cures, some of which I share on my channel, through asking the universe to reveal the solution, to reveal the cure for me. Because I was fed up with taking medicine. I was fed up with not having the money, to fill prescriptions or to go to a doctor and having to worry about like a bill coming that I can't pay. Or even if it's not that, like at times I've had like a free insurance, but just the invasiveness of going there and having them touch me or ask me all these personal questions or have these records, there's so many things, especially with women, that are very invasive when you go to the doctor. Well, no, I take that back, with men too, right? Like, a lot of men have a huge fear of going to the doctor. And at the root of it, it's probably because some of it's really invasive and uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that you never are gonna have to go through some of those moments, because that's part of being a human body, and that's part of healing sometimes. But like, on a general basis, most people go to the doctor way more than what is necessary. And like these yearly pap smears and stuff, I think that is all such rubbish, because we didn't have pap smears for like most of human history. And I've heard of gynecologists telling women they have HPV, myself included. You have HPV, and then it's like this vague thing that there's really no proof of it, right? Like, okay, you can show me this and say that this is it, but I would have no symptoms, okay, no discomfort. So for all you know, they could just straight up be telling you that to scare you, because the way that we manifest reality is with our beliefs. So if they can tell you you have something and you choose to accept that and believe it, your body is so powerful that it can act, or rather your subconscious mind is so powerful that it can actually create that situation, that issue in your body, just because a doctor told it to you and you believed them, okay? And on the other hand, if you choose not to believe it and you choose to say, that's not my truth, I don't have that. I've heard stories of people curing themselves of cancer because when they were diagnosed with cancer, they rejected it and said, no, I don't have cancer, that's not me. And like one woman, she decided, like her husband was like, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go through chemo, and he was getting all, antsy. And she's like, honey, we're gonna watch funny movies and I'm gonna laugh my ass off for days, right? And she just went on like a comedy spree and laughed and did so everything that could possibly make her laugh. And now I understand that raises your vibration, okay? And eventually went back to get another, whatever it's called, and did not have cancer, okay? So, you are so powerful. If there's one thing I want to do with my channel it is first to get the truth out, especially the truth about animals and human health. Secondly is to empower people. If even one person watches my videos and something says to them, oh my God, wow, I am so powerful. Wow, my brain can do that. Oh my God, I can cure myself. Or I can stop participating in animal suffering. And, if you take an empowered thought away from my videos and it leads you to empowered actions and healthy actions that are good for yourself and good for animals and good for the planet and good for everybody, then my channel is worth all of the hours that I've spent on it. Ask the fucking animals about going vegan, okay? Like, we shouldn't even be asking, I don't know, it's such a luxury, isn't it, that we feel like we can decide, how privileged are we that we get that other living beings' lives hang in the balance, right? And we can basically cast our vote whether or not that they suffer and are killed, right? So I would say ask the animals, sit down, go somewhere and go see some farm animals and look into their eyes and ask them if they think that you should go vegan. Okay, that's what you should do. Then you should ask yourself, you should look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself if you're a person who wants to pay people on a daily basis to imprison animals and to cause great suffering in the world and to cause violence, because that's what it is, it's violence. And I don't believe we were designed for the food that we take into our bodies, because I believe our bodies are divine. I'm not religious anymore, but I'm extremely, like, I believe spirit is our reality, and the physical is just the illusion. It's just the experience that our soul is like having. So why, if we're an eternal soul and we're like eternal consciousness and energy, why in the world would our sustenance, would our life force depend upon the death, okay, of another living being that's also made of the same energy and consciousness that we are? So in essence, why would Creator, God, or us, or whatever, it's all one, why would we create the need for us to kill ourselves in order to exist? Like, it doesn't even make sense. We are self-generating, okay? We are a self-generating force. And again, it's that belief system. If you believe you're gonna get sick if you stop eating animals, then you probably will, because you didn't change your belief system first. So I would say work on changing your belief system first. Be open to the possibility that you don't need to eat animal flesh or cow's breast milk or chicken's periods, which are eggs. You don't need to consume the bodily functions and fluids and flesh of another living being in order for you to have life. That is just a terrible lie that's been perpetuated on this planet for eons of time, but it's so false. Like, there are people living on raw food diets. I'm not. I eat cooked food. I am vegan, but I eat cooked food. But there are people living on nothing but fruit. There are people living on, supposedly there's people living on air. So you can look up breatharianism. So I believe all of it's possible. Do I want to live on air? Not really. I mean, partially yes, but no, I like food. Like, I feel like one of the perks of being in a human body is being able to eat. You know, we have these mouths, we have these stomachs, we have these teeth, we have all these senses in our mouth, you know, to taste things, and we have these noses for the aroma. And so no, food is pleasurable, okay? Food is very pleasurable and it can be awesome, but why should something pleasurable to us cause so much suffering to another? You know, that's not right. That doesn't seem like an intelligent, perfect universe, does it? So you have to think about it from so many different angles. You can't just like see vegans and see animal rights activists with some signs and roll your eyes and go, they're batshit crazy, right? Because if that's as far as you take it, I think like you are doing such a disservice to yourself, because there's always deeper reasons that people get loud, that people revolt, that people riot, right? And you know, it's easy. In fact, well, the media has brainwashed people to look at those people like they're crazy, and movies have also done a good job of having crazy animal rights activists in the background, making fun of them. So you have to question all your programming. Why is it that you think that they're crazy? Okay, first. Second of all, you know, on a planet that's had so much corruption and so much darkness for so long, you know, if you don't get loud, if you don't get dedicated to your cause, if you don't say things that are uncomfortable, that really like shake people to the core sometimes, or show them images that aren't popular and that aren't fun to look at, if you never did, if these people didn't do this stuff, no one, there wouldn't be as many vegans as there are. No one would bat an eyelid, because there's too many other things competing for your attention all around you, and most of it's to sell you things. So that's all I have for now. Happy Friday night. Thank you for listening to me free flow and ramble on, and go vegan.